Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. If you're a leftist grifter, my best advice to you is actually usually advice that leftists don't really need. If you're a dishonest ideologue who resorts to cheap tactics, ad hominem attacks, and slanderous scapegoats, don't show up for a debate. You know, the last time this happened on Tim Pool's show, I think his name is Lance from the Surfs TV, a rather insignificant fellow, but still a very dishonest leftist ideologue. His performance on Timcast IRL was so incredibly embarrassing that even leftoids were claiming that he's set the leftist movement back. You know, the Surfs TV's performance should have been a warning to the rest of these leftoids to stay away from honest discussion and debate if you can't be honest. Well, it seems as though one of these individuals, Mrs. Emma Vigland, you know, this person,
I don't give a shit about the scientific explanations,
infamous ex-TYT member, now on the Sam Cedar show, well, she thought that she had the chops, she had what it takes to show up on Tim Pool's show, and holy moly did it go bad for her. There's one specific moment that I really want to talk about though, not exactly a good look, but the perfect encapsulation of why it is so impossible to have a discussion with leftoids. Let me show you guys exactly what I mean. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so don't really need too much context here. Let's just play this interaction and then have a conversation about what happened.
This is the majority report.
Yeah, but it is a nasty smear. Like, you're doing it on purpose
and
without
it's
running
not
down
a political
the
statement.
context.
It's not a political argument.
You're like, he watched
nothing.
an episode of her show. I'm sorry, of his show. Like, that's
there was that one guy who posted Sam Cedar a whole bunch. Remember the guy who killed all those people at the bar in Ohio?
I don't remember that case specifically.
Why did that guy watch Sam Cedar so much?
Why did Gavin?
Why do you guys appeal to mass shooters? Why do mass shooters
There's a qualitative
talk about
difference.
Sam Cedar being so inspirational to them?
Why did Gavin?
Why is Emma Vigland inspiring mass shooters?
Why did Gavin Long?
Why are you okay with porn being shown to children? Look, if you want to play a game of nonsense statements for political brownie points, feel free to do so. But I'll say it again.
Tim, I didn't mean to upset you.
This is exactly why Sam is not welcome on my show. But it's not something that I just one day was like, you know what? No, it's because I had serious conversations with networks and other high-profile individuals, and I love.
Can you name the high-profile individuals?
That's their business. But I absolutely love how the response is, they're scared of Sam. It's like, no, they despise him. He's a bad faith actor who does exactly what you just did. We're having a conversation about scientific research, data, my position on what I like about DeSantis, and then you go, your show's for neo-Nazis. It's like, okay, dude, are you stupid?
I'm just stating facts.
Have you ever?
Okay, this is like low brow. This is why you guys have 170 Dave Rubin videos. Do you think the average person cares about Dave Rubin?
No,
but you guys get clicks by doing it. Hey,
fun.
how about you guys run a video about how Tim Pool got into an argument with a pro-lifer about how he's in favor of pro-choice policy? You didn't run that, did you? Because you guys are grifters. This is what you do. I can invite you on for a real conversation, and what do? Your show's for neo-Nazis. This is why you guys don't get invited places, because you're not having real conversations.
I don't really care about getting invited places.
Holy moly. I mean, you cannot get this dishonest. You cannot be this deluded, this much of a narcissist. You know, it reminds me of back when I was like 12, 13, and I would get into arguments with my parents. And even though I knew that I was wrong, I would double down or try to distract and deflect. You know, as a 12, 13-year-old, it's kind of expected behavior. But when you see 30-year-olds, well, I'm assuming she's 30, she looks 30, maybe she's in her 20s, anyways, you get it, a fully grown adult. When you see them behaving in that way, it's just so incredibly pathetic. Her first response really showed you exactly what kind of person she is. Calling Tim Pool a neo-Nazi or claiming that his viewers or that he attracts neo-Nazis is such a pathetic, weak, slanderous argument. Can't even call it an argument, it's a cheap tactic. And when he calls her out on it, pointing out the clear hypocrisy that, you know, there's terrible people that watch her show who have been arrested for awful things. Can we make the same argument to slander you or portray you as some sort of extremist? Her response is, well, Tim, I didn't mean to upset you. Not taking it back, not accepting that clearly he's pointed out her absolute, utter hypocrisy. Just, why are you getting mad? Well, maybe he's getting frustrated because you just assumed or just made the statement or a connection that his show is for neo-Nazis. Why are you getting so so mad. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. She then doubles down when Tim Pool paraphrases her, saying it's a bad faith argument to say that Tim Pool's show is for neo-Nazis, and she says, I'm just stating facts. At the time, there was probably over 30,000 people watching the live stream, and essentially she's sitting there claiming that she's stating facts that the 30,000 people watching are neo-Nazis. How utterly absurd. If you've spent maybe 5 seconds on 4chan, where those actual unfortunate cretins tend to reside, you'd know that probably one of their favorite talking points on the 4chan board is how disgusted they are by interracial relationships, which Tim Pool happens to be the result of one of those interracial relationships, being half Asian and half white. You mean that guy, Tim Pool, the half Korean guy, his show is for neo-Nazis? You have to be out of your mind to make that kind of statement. Well, I'm just stating the facts. Tim Pool then describes her and everyone part of that whole Sam Cedar clique as being grifters, says this is why you're not getting invited anywhere, and her response is, well, I don't really care about getting invited anywhere. It's just this sassy, cringe attitude. It's real teenager stuff. It's lowbrow, low effort, aggressively partisan crap. You know, I could already see it in the comments. Well, what about you? You're a partisan. Yeah, you're right, I am. But I'm not running around avoiding actual ideas and the substance of arguments, labeling people Nazis. That's freaking insane. But that's par for the course when it comes to these leftoids. They never actually address the ideas themselves, the policies themselves. It's always some sort of jab, some sort of gut punch or attempt at a gotcha moment. And this is why they can't compete in these spaces. Because regardless of what you think about Tim Pool, I know there's a lot of people who think he's too far left. Some people think he's too much of a libertarian on certain issues. Some people think he's too conservative. Whatever you actually think about his viewpoints, or him even as a human being and his personality traits, one thing you probably can't deny is that he's honest, and he's ideologically consistent in his stances. He's willing to have a discussion and willing to have a debate on the actual merit of ideas. Leftoids, not so much. It's simply feeding into partisan Twitter nonsense to their 14-year-old crowd, their depressed, video game addicted, overly spoiled latte socialist crowd, who want socialism because they don't want to work, and think that everyone who disagrees with them is a far-right neo-Nazi, and they just play into that in order to generate clicks. The Dave Rubin element is actually a great example of that. This ridiculous tribalism on the far left, where anybody who doesn't adhere absolutely to the far left doctrine is somehow a right-winger. You know, Dave Rubin. I mean, I don't know these days where he classifies himself on the political spectrum. Possibly he calls himself a conservative. I don't think so. Probably more like a classical liberal. I certainly don't think that Dave Rubin is a hardcore, staunch conservative. But in their eyes, Dave Rubin has crossed the line, and he's a MAGA-supporting, Ron DeSantis, conservative, far-right neo-Nazi shill. It's absurd. It's totally absurd. They say the same thing about people like Dr. Jordan Peterson, Elon Musk, and Tim Pool. And of course, don't forget Joe Rogan. All of those people who you would probably categorize center-left, under their viewpoint, are conservatives, or it even goes way further than that. They're neo-Nazis and fascist alt-righters. It's completely nuts. Why? Because they question bogus left-wing narratives. If you question a bogus narrative MSNBC is reporting on for the week, well then you're far right. Let me guess. Robert Kennedy Jr., who's running as a Democrat, oh, he's probably a far-right fascist too, huh? It's like I always say, they're fundamentally unserious people. They're people who take these stances almost religiously, like a cult, where they've bought into this leftist identity so hardcore that they simply just parrot the talking points. They don't think about the talking points, their stances and whatnot. How you gonna pay for it is usually the question that just absolutely dismantles their entire belief system, but they've bought in, they're all in, they're in with the crowd, you know, they're in Hassan's Twitch chat, therefore they're part of the crew, and they play the game. Dishonest grifters who prance around as if they're this collective intellectual might, who have the answers to all of society's problems, and every single solution to every problem is, the rich people are gonna pay for it, and anybody who disagrees with me is either a Russian bot or a 4chan right-wing, alt-right neo-Nazi. It's completely crazy. And good on Tim Pool for not mincing his words, not holding back, and absolutely winning the night. Hats off to Tim, fantastic fantastic job. And I mean, the whole Emma Vigland thing, we've been, you know, covering her on and off, or at least, you know, when she makes the news for the last 3.5, almost 4 years. Not much has changed, huh? Some of you guys might remember that very early in this YouTube channel when I had less than 10,000 subscribers, we've made a couple Emma Vigland videos from back when she worked at TYT. Ah, the good old days. Well, welcome back, Emma. I've noticed that you've been trying really hard to go viral with your ridiculous moments. It's working, just not sure you're winning over the hearts and minds of people tuning in to the public discussion. That's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe for the channel. You know that we'd love to have you here. Thanks for watching, folks, and I'll see you on the next one.